So this is the final lecture, and as promised, if you went to all three, you'll get the lapel pin. And if you only went to one of them, but you went to an internet class, a workshop, then we'll get you a lapel pin too. So anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to do role playing. I've got two suckers, volunteers who are members here who have companies, and I've got the history of the company up here. And Art and Lou have generously volunteered their services. So what we're going to do is role playing, and this is basically a typical client-mentor meeting. And what it's designed to show you is why your clients need websites, some of the questions you should be asking them, and even further, how to use the web to do research for your clients for things like demographics, markets. So it's kind of just to put everything together in perspective when you see it. So as you can, the main message, it's a place not only to do business, but to use as a business resource. And again, I don't know how many of you are using the web for your clients, but it's a really valuable thing. So Art's company, you can read it. Art went to Shenzhen, China, and he cut a deal to be North American distributor for a 3D printer that basically makes prototypes. So he's got this very, very slick machine, and he's looking for some advice of how to market it, where to market it, who to go to. He's walking in, he's a smart guy, but he's pretty clueless about the whole thing. So here's my victim who's coming in.
I have a disclaimer because we have not rehearsed this at all. Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
Art.
Art,
Art,
nice to meet you.
Nice
Great,
meeting you.
great. I'm going to take lunch soon, so we'll make this fast.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So tell me about your company.
Well, I got this machine that I've been working with these Chinese folks on, and it's slicker than you know what. It's got all the features and then some, and I'm convinced that I can sell this at a less expensive cost than any competitive or non-competitive machine. So I really like, I think the idea is sound, but I'd like to know where we go from here.
Okay, well, I guess the first question would be is, how are we going to sell it? What's your sales channel? What's your thought about that?
What does that mean?
Well, how are we going to get this thing into the customer's hands? Is it going to be through a rep, a distributor, direct, a combination of both? How do we want to sell it?
I haven't given that much thought. What do you?
Is it an expert sale? Do you need someone to hold your hand when you buy it? Who's going to buy it? Is it an engineer? Who's going to buy it?
I think it's designed more for the hobbyist. The person who's just tinkering and wants a one-of-a-kind kind of things.
Okay.
Artists, and people who make things, maybe prototypes.
So there's no commercial applications for it?
Not for this kind of machine, because it's light duty. It's not a heavy.
Okay, so if it's not business to business, it's business to consumer,
Yeah,
B2C,
yeah,
then
exactly.
we probably want to sell it on the web.
Oh.
Okay, does that sound like a good idea?
I guess.
Okay.
How do you go about doing that?
Well, first thing is we have to get a website.
Oh.
A website, right. So we have to get your website to sell this thing.
Okay. Well, I know
So
what those
what do you
are.
know about websites?
Well, I've been working with GoDaddy, on other websites.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know that. I know you can, call it in and you get a registration and you get a website name and all that stuff. So I think I'm there. But then what? Now you got this. Now you got this blank website.
Did GoDaddy websites do e-commerce?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't talked to them
think so?
about that. But yeah, that
Okay.
might.
How complicated is a part number in this? Are there a lot of different models?
Maybe one or two.
Okay, so basically you could put the thing on the web and just have a description, specs, and a buy now.
Okay.
Would you have like a technical call line if people had questions about it? Would you have an 800 number?
I haven't thought about that much either.
Because it's pretty expensive, so
Yeah.
what if someone's got a question?
What I'm worried about is I've got this machine and I've got all these distributors here. You've got Best Buy, Amazon, Alibaba, we've got all this. So how do I differentiate my website and my product from all the machines out there?
Well, do you have an agreement with these Chinese guys
that
that
could
they're
be a
not,
problem.
is it an exclusive for North America, or?
I don't know. Is there someone in SCORE that knows about how to talk to overseas
We have someone who speaks
manufacturers?
Chinese. Okay, yes, we
Okay.
do, yes.
So that may be someone that I might want to talk to? Do you
After we can do
yourself?
what's called co-mentoring, we could pull her in, no, my Chinese is rusty.
Oh,
So we could pull Catherine in.
I've heard that in dealing with the Chinese, that it's best to have some
Watch it, now watch it. Oh, okay.
in-between person that you don't directly call or contact a Chinese person or manufacturer, that you have a person in between who would
Like a
introduce
trading
you.
company, or?
No,
I think a website.
A website, there's an idea.
oh,
So let's get your website. So say we go to GoDaddy, or
okay.
it depends, how complex do you picture the whole sale process being? Is it basically just, here's the specs, here's the price, buy it, I'll ship it to you, or do you need to explain about the technology,
Oh, I
the
think you want to
process?
describe the features and why it's better, the pros, cons, or,
Okay.
compared to this, and maybe set up, this is this unit, but this is my unit, and these are the features, and this is what our competitors don't have.
Okay.
Something like that.
Well, how much, do you have a lot of money to spend on website or promotion, or do you have $5,000?
I have, no, not a lot.
Here, I'll hold that.
Not very much.
So, no, you don't have, okay, so we might have to go to GoDaddy, because you're that kind of company.
But is there a better source of
Well, yes, you
are there
can
pros
we
who
can
do
get you to a
this?
web developer who actually will build the thing from scratch.
Oh, really?
They're a little bit more expensive, but you get exactly what
How
you want.
expensive are they?
It might be, say, $500 to $2,000, depending on how
Wow.
complicated
Do I
it
need an
is.
SBA loan to do
Oh, I don't know, you gotta talk to some other guy about that.
that? Okay.
No, you're good, so we'll get your website, and then,
Who's going to do that?
so GoDaddy guys do, it. You basically
Okay.
call up you call them up, and they put a person on the phone with you.
Who can help design the website?
Who can help design
Like
it?
the words,
No,
the
they do the
pictures and
design.
everything.
You have
Okay,
to write the
good.
text. But they have what's called the Lego building block version of websites, where
Oh,
they put together different modules,
Oh, yeah,
and then based on what you need,
okay.
so we'll have a home page, which will talk about the product and about Art's company, and then we'll go into the product
Are you
itself.
available to help me along the way here?
Oh, absolutely.
Good, good. Because
Oh,
I don't know whether I come up with the right stuff.
And if I don't know, we've got other
Oh.
counselors here that specialize in
Okay.
importing and manufacturing,
Oh,
in finance, in all different areas, so it's very important. So it's not just the website, so we
Okay.
can handle the whole thing, we help you with the marketing of the
yeah,
product.
like I don't know anything about Google Ads or clicks or pay to clicks or
Okay, well,
anything
it's
like
funny
that.
you say about Google Ads. So, okay, you skipped around a little on me, but that's okay.
This was
So,
unrehearsed.
so if we want to do Google Ads, what we have to do is come up with a bunch of what's called AdWords. So say we've got the 3D printer, okay, so I sat down before a meeting and I came up with a number of words, and you can see them up on that screen there, that basically if I wanted to buy one of these things, that I would go to the search bar in Google, I'd type in these words, and then your website would magically appear as a paid ad. And this way, they would type that in, and they would see your ad, they'd click on it, and hopefully they'd contact you and
I may
they'd buy
need some
one.
help though to walk me through this. So are you
Yes.
available to do that?
Absolutely.
Good, okay.
So that's, I'm the expert here, but I'm training a number of other people to help us with the website stuff. So
Okay.
you'll be able to develop a campaign for all your AdWords, and Google also has a tool that will do this.
Okay.
So, like I said, this is advertising, it's based on what's your sales territory? Is it North America?
Yeah,
Okay, so we develop a campaign that'll cover all of North America, if you want.
Okay.
So, here, let me see if there's anything else I need to go over with you. So the pricing, how are you intend to price this thing?
I find out what the price is this
On
thing
the,
is on the web?
that's it.
Oh, okay.
You go on the web, and then you look at what everybody else is charging for this thing, right?
Okay.
And then you see comparable machines are, say, X, because you're buying it in China direct from the manufacturer, then you're
Right.
getting the best deal possible.
Right.
So you price yours 15%, 20%
But aren't they
cheaper.
gonna be selling their same machine, on their own elsewhere? Are they
You're a
gonna sign-
manufacturer?
Are they gonna sign an exclusive with
Well,
me?
it
They don't
depends
even
on
know
your
me.
deal, what kind of deal they cut with you.
Wow.
We have guys that could also look at your contract.
How? Contracts with
Do you have a
China?
contract? Uh-oh, you're in big trouble, dude.
Yeah.
So what do you have? You got a letter, you got a handshake?
I'm just starting this out, just an idea.
So we need to come up with a agreement for you to bring back to your friends in China so that they can really say, this looks good. And it's got to be based on trust, because contracts with, in international areas are not accepted all the time in an American court of law.
Right. That's another concern of mine.
So we would also need to have this agreement that they wouldn't sell it to Amazon directly, or they wouldn't do any of that stuff, so we need to
So do you
cover
have someone at
that.
SCORE who does that as well?
Well, you might need a attorney who specializes in this. That might be beyond their expertise, but I could check for you.
Okay.
So about the pricing, we want to sell these things. So you see the price on the web, and you get a rough idea of what the list price would be, and then you cut that. So you go in there 15, 20% cheaper, and you'll sell a lot of machines. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. Do you have enough capital to buy a bunch of these? Because you can't sell from an empty shelf.
Yeah. Well, I may need some startup money.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have friends at
Working-
the SBA
working
that can
capital.
help you.
SBA is good.
You got credit cards, you got a rich uncle, what,
I have a good friend in Carlsbad.
Really?
Yeah, he's got this office down the road. from me. I may hit him up.
really? I hear this guy's like, he's real surface, but there's nothing below, so I wouldn't talk to him. So finally, what kind of website do we need? Because the problem is you can't use any of the Chinese material because it's not written in American English. You're gonna have to translate everything into
Right.
real English.
Right.
Okay, have you seen the technical documents?
Yes.
Okay, can you put them on the web as they are, or
No, they're in Pinyin. I really have a problem with
Okay, so we're gonna have to rewrite everything.
that, I guess.
Okay, and our person who speaks Chinese can help you with that. She can help you find a translator possibly.
Oh, good.
Is there anything else I can help you with? Because I can.
No, this is good. Hey, I know you're in mid,
Yeah,
thank you. We're gonna meet again,
We're gonna
right?
meet again, right?
Okay, thank
All
you.
right. So now Lou is gonna come up, and here's Lou's company. Lou is one of these guys who's just gotta have his own business. He worked for
I do.
HR.
Yes.
And he basically was involved in writing affirmative action and equal opportunity work for different companies. And he worked for a company that did injection molding. And so basically what they did is they took molten plastic and they made stuff out of it. But his particular company did injection molding. So he basically wants to work with these particular kind of companies and build his business. And that's where we are. So.
Hey
how do you-
Bob, how you doing?
Hey, good.
I heard about you through the personal financial advisor in Kiplinger's, so I am here at SCORE.
Okay, this
So-
might be a conflict of interest.
Oh, it is.
I'm gonna go to lunch in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Forget about lunch, Bob.
No, he's in. Yeah, so anyway, I have a HR company. My background is in injection molding. And I saw an opportunity because there are a lot of people in injection molding that have HR issues. They're relatively unskilled blue-collar workers, and so they seem to have a lot of difficulty with affirmative action programs, and I'm here because I need help. I have 2 or 3 clients, relatively stagnant company, kind of losing a little money, and I want to make money, and I'm not sure about the way to sell my services.
Well, how are these services sold right now, traditionally?
Slowly.
Through an agency?
Well,
or-
basically, they know about me. You know, they think of me and they
So
think
it's a
of
word of mouth thing?
Word of mouth, not good, yeah, but yes, word of mouth.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been in the business, so I know two or three of my big clients are the people that I actually work for.
Okay, so that's a good start, but, So
So two
basically
things
you're
I need
talking-
help in
okay.
is sales, because as I said, I don't know really where to go with that. And, you know, so that's a big thing for me that's really the big thing for me is trying to get sales.
have you thought about using the,
I thought about using the web, right, that's it. And yeah, so I thought about using, in fact, we have just kind of a skeleton web page, and it doesn't really do much. You know, one of my friends designed it for me, and he since left. I think he's in Europe somewhere. But so I'm kind of stuck with this website, and I'm not really doing anything.
is it not very good, the website, or?
I don't think it's very good at all. It doesn't do anything. It's just there.
So you probably didn't do any Google advertising with your website, right?
I haven't done really anything with it.
Okay, so what we really need to do is find out your demographic. We need to find out your target market with this thing.
Okay.
So I would say offhand, if you're selling to injection molders, then the same kind of people, the employees, if you're dealing with personnel that just are working for blow molders and thermoformers and extrusion operations and all forms of melting plastic and remolding it. So your market's not just injection molders, now it's everybody in that business.
Yeah, I thought that's a good point because I thought about doing it, but it's just kind of outside my comfort zone. But that's a good thought.
But really the common element is that the workers they're basically low information, if I could call them out, low pay. They're pretty basic workers.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true, and it's something to think about.
So if we could take your website, now, so you said you have a website, but
We
you don't
do.
like it?
It's not I don't like it. I really don't. I mean, yeah, it just doesn't really do anything for me.
So what we could do is we could get you with a web developer. We've got a list of 5 web developers that
Okay.
our clients have told us that are pretty good.
Uh-huh.
So you could call them, interview these people, tell them what you have, and they would develop a website for you with a little bit of flash, and so it would basically talk about your products real nice. But what we really want to do is zero in on who's our client, who are we going to sell this thing to.
Okay.
And basically I thought about it and said, well, it's not only all these people that are melting plastic, but it's also people in poultry processing. for
Poultry?
instance. Poultry processing.
Wow.
Leather manufacturing, who else? Agriculture. It's basically, it's the same employee. It's low information, low wage, so not highly educated. So that's a common element between all these
I'm
industries.
just not sure about the poultry thing. But okay, gotcha.
Well, you like chicken, right?
I do.
Okay, I like chicken too,
All
so
right.
chicken's okay.
All right.
So now we've expanded your market. It's not just injection molders. Now it's basically, it's the entire pool of companies out there who have this particular profile of workers.
Okay.
So now what we're doing is we'll develop you a website. So you go to a web developer,
Is
and
that
then
expensive?
no, it'll cost you because this is an information-only website, it might cost you $500 to $1,000.
When you say, what does that mean, information only?
Well, basically what you're doing is you're selling a service. You're selling, you're stating,
Okay.
here's the problem. The problem is that all these companies have workers that are low wage, low information, low training, and they have certain EEO issues,
Right.
okay, and they're
Right.
basically in common with all these companies. So what we need to do is basically come up with a number of, call it synonyms or search terms
Okay.
on the web. So I've
And
done the
who
liberty of
comes
coming up with a couple.
Okay.
You do it yourself.
Okay.
So I just sat there and said, if I wanted to search for an EEO program
Right.
on the web, what would I write? So these are all the things I did. And basically, I went to your competitors' websites,
Okay.
and they're the ones that gave me all the information.
Oh, okay.
So the process would go basically, we develop a website, which is very simple, and then we develop a Google
We,
advertising
the web
program.
developer.
Yes.
Okay.
And we use these words, and we develop a campaign for each of them,
Okay.
and then we basically have a link from these back to your website. People
Alright.
click on it,
Okay.
and that's how we kind of figure out whether these markets are any good or not.
Can we add chicken to that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Turkey,
All right. Good.
swine,
Okay, good.
and we can put
Is that
anything
something
on
I
there.
do or the developer does?
Well, it's what, you could do it yourself and save some money.
And how would I do that?
You sit, like I did, you sit at your computer and say, what's
So
a
you
search
you
term?
just go to Google, how does that work if I want to?
I'm doing, you're doing EEO, equal opportunity
Right.
for a particular business.
Right,
So I went on the web, I typed in EEO consultants,
okay.
and I went to just any website.
But how do I put that in? I heard you said I can put.
You go to the search bar in Google,
Okay,
and you just type in EEO consultants.
and then someone,
Then a whole
But
bunch
no,
of
I-
websites come up.
but if I'm gonna put in a new search term so someone can get to my website,
Mhm.
how do I put in the search term?
Or you develop a AdWord campaign.
You develop an ad.
See, all these are called AdWords.
But I understand, but in order, how does it actually work where I put in these words and it comes, and somebody.
You go to Google AdWords, you develop an account,
Oh, okay,
and then you go on there and you basically type in all these words.
Oh,
You want to
okay.
buy a campaign,
gotcha,
and then you bid on the words.
okay,
And then it might cost you 75 cents a hit. If it's a hot term, it might cost you
Okay.
$5.
and then they go to my website and then hopefully they'll call me and,
Well, they'll go to the ad. They'll go to say
Right.
hourly worker EEO,
right,
and they'll see the Lou's Consulting Service, and they'll say,
gotcha.
oh yeah, he handles EEO.
So my understanding, I want to
click
be on
on
like page 1 or page
Page
2,
one's always good.
and then they click on me and then they call me?
So you'll be paid, so basically you'll be as high as you pay.
Right,
So for the
Oh,
national
go very
listings,
high.
yeah, so this is worth spending money on.
okay, and then they would hopefully call me and then.
Well, what
discuss-
they'll click on,
Once
they'll go to the ad,
get to my website,
Right.
hopefully, what am I hoping for?
they'll read the
They'll call
website,
me?
then they'll contact you.
Gotcha,
Because you're gonna have your 800 number on there,
okay,
and then you'll have basically an application form, they can fill it out, it goes right to you, and then you call them back within an hour.
great,
And that's good, and we can try that out, see how it works.
okay.
So what do you think?
I think that's great. It's a good use of my time.
Okay,
All right.
Lou,
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
these guys are killer, thank you very much. So really what I'm trying to show you is that it's no different from what you're doing now when you're talking to a client, it's question, answer, it's you're probing, you want to see what they know, what they don't know, except you're asking about the web, saying, do you have a website? Do you know what Google advertising is? What markets are you selling in? And as you develop these questions, you get a good idea of what kind of website that they would need, what kind of advertising campaign they would need. And again, it's nothing different from what you're doing right now, except you just kind of incorporate this into your presentation. Any questions so far? Sir?
You came up with a website cost of $500 to $2,000.
Right.
When it comes, is that realistic?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It depends on for instance, to develop the store website, it started at $1,800, but then I added a bunch, we added a search engine, we're gonna add another calendar, so probably when we're done with it, our whole website will be maybe $4,000 or $5,000 in development costs. And that's a commercial website, that's a pretty good sized website with a lot of navigation. A simple website would be $500 to $1,500 if you did it with a developer. It'd be really quick. It's an easy process to go through.
And it would be attractive in bringing clients?
Yes, because you combine it with a Google advertising campaign. You can't just do a website and let it sit there and hope it gets clients. You need to develop an advertising campaign, and that's what all those AdWords are.
And all those AdWords on the last one, how much would that cost somebody, ballpark?
Depends. You make yourself a budget. You say, okay, I want to spend $1,000 a month,
Okay.
or I want to spend $2,000, whatever it is, and then you make the number of ads you have based on how much you want to spend. But the nice thing about the pay-per-click is you don't pay unless they click. So you could do ads everywhere, but if no one clicks on it, first of all, it means you have a lousy website, but you don't have to pay. So it's not like doing an ad in a trade journal where you pay no matter what.
Do you have a lousy website or bad AdWords?
Could be both.
Could be both.
The web is just very Darwinian. If you don't do it right, no one's going to come. That's it. So like I said last time, if you build it, they won't necessarily come. So again, this is all based on the stat I threw out that 75% of the citizens in the United States are on the internet. So this is probably the best medium for any business there is to attract new customers. So this is a fact from the Census Bureau. So again, you only have one chance to get it right, so you want that website to be really good. Like, I wouldn't put the SCORE website I showed you live yet because there's not enough there. There's not enough content. It still needs a lot of beefing up. Bill?
Back on one other point on AdWords, how does a client go about bidding on AdWords, and how much time does that take? And are you
It's
looking at that
pretty
in
automatic.
30 seconds?
You go inside of Google AdWords and you make a campaign, you pick a word, say you pick
Poultry.
poultry. The chicken thing again. So you put poultry in there, and poultry, because it's such a broad word, would cost you a lot of money because a lot of people are bidding on it. So for instance, I was telling, if Elias wants to sell shoes, AdWords for shoes are really expensive because there's a lot of people selling shoes. They're not as good as his, but there are a lot of people selling shoes. Now, if you do it in a very tiny niche area, there aren't a lot of people, then the ad will cost less money. But then again, if it's a really expensive product, even though there's a few players, they might be heavily sought after names, so it might cost a lot of money.
How do you know how much to bid and how often, and how do you monitor it all?
Well, you check your campaigns pretty often. So if you want the #1 spot, you basically outbid everybody. If you see
So I
that
gotta be on my machine constantly looking at this word?
no, you could, every couple days. These things aren't that dynamic. They don't change that much unless you're in something like shoes. Like poor Elias, I mean, this guy just has to be going crazy with all the different type of shoes. And yes,
Do you, so just going back to the campaign, is another way of monitoring it through your Google Analytics of how many people are going to your website?
yes. So the Google Analytics and AdWords are tied in. The Google Analytics basically is it's a snapshot of how your website's performing. So every website has Google Analytics. So you get into the account, and then you see how you're doing, the page views, your bounce rate, how many people are on it, what time they were on it, and then you go to the AdWords part of it. It shows you how all the words are, how they performed.
Bob, didn't you make the point to me yesterday that professionals do this a lot, that one of the options is to have somebody else do
Yes.
this for you? So you're not actually doing this, so you don't have to struggle with the
Right. Now, for
monitor.
instance, Self-Image Media, who is our designer, is also going to be taking care of the maintenance on our website. So what they do is they constantly monitor the AdWords programs. So if one term isn't pulling any, they'll drop that out. If one term is maxing out, see, you put in a daily budget. So say you put in, okay, $75 in this particular term. If you blow past that at 2 in the afternoon, then you know you got a really good term there. So you might want to fund that term a little bit more, and you might want to take money away from terms that aren't doing well. Think of it like this, is that every business needs to have a promotion budget. You can't have a business without a promotion budget. So it's really a matter of how you want to allocate your budget. You want to put money into Google AdWords. Now, the thing about a restaurant is they're very local. So when you buy these AdWords, if you're buying, for instance, Arts Company was going to sell these 3D printers in North America. So when he throws an AdWord up there, it's going to northern Saskatchewan, it's going to Abilene, Texas, it's going everywhere. When you got a restaurant in Hillcrest in San Diego, you're advertising it basically in like a maybe a 10-mile radius. So your cost for that ad has gone down dramatically because it's local. I gotta wrap it up here because I'm getting up the sign. So basically, if you can read this, the purpose of the lecture is to give you basics of what you need to manage your clients. I'm available to help anybody.